to the idea of understanding that they're getting ready to explore life, and you have done well.
Mm-hmm.
You have done well as a mother to prepare them as
Mm-hmm.
they launch off into life. And so you get to sit there and smile and say, you go, I see you.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
you can still have the same excitement in your life.
You know what I like
They're
about
looking
your
at you
message?
and
You know
saying, why
what
are
I
you
like
saying,
about
Mom?
your
I'm loving life.
what I really love about your message is that um, even though you are a married woman,
Mhm.
you it's almost, and tell me if I'm right or wrong, it's almost as if you compartmentalize, you
Yes,
know,
yes.
the woman and dealing with the woman, the mom,
Mhm.
and addressing that separately, or maybe
It is.
adjacent to the partner, because not everybody is married, not everyone is
Yes.
partnered up or booed up or whatever we want to call it.
Yeah.
And even if you have a partner, you still should be doing things for yourself, to help you get through this,
Yeah.
right? So that's what I really loved about your message, that
Yeah.
it wasn't focused on, oh, because I'm a married person and I'm gonna get through this with my husband and we're gonna do it together and it's easier for me. I don't see you doing that. I've seen that and that didn't resonate with me, because I'm like, what about the other side of it? And not even the other side. What about you as a person? Just you as a person.
So so here's what I'm healthier and I'm a better partner
Mm-hmm.
when I am whole.
Yes. Please repeat that for the people way in the back. Way in the
I am
Say
a
it again.
better partner. I am a better friend. I am a better daughter.
Yeah.
I am a better worker. I'm
Yeah.
better to myself when I am whole.
That is so important.
And so I again work hard to make sure that you are an individual first. And I always say I'm a woman first because
Yes.
that is who I am. So I will always identify as being a woman first. And as a woman first, I have to be whole and healthy to be a partner to my husband.
High five, high five, high five.
Because what happens is you
You're
then
absolutely
become
right.
dependent. So what happens is
Gosh,
you
you're
then
absolutely
become
right.
dependent on this spouse to fulfill really what you should have been working on in the first place, which
Oh
was
my
your
goodness.
wholeness.
Yes.
And because you can work on your wholeness, then it's not a problem where issues comes up of everything you're tied to the hip with your
Yes.
and again what you do is you take the identity and you replace it. All you're doing is replacing it. You were a mother, now you're just a wife. You just put it in front.
Right, right, right.
But I am a woman. I'm a woman that is whole, that can be all of these other important, pivotal roles that I play. But
Right.
it only starts with me being whole and addressing a lot of those issues, those insecurities, those that false thinking that we kind of tell ourselves, and working through that. And then I get to be a better partner. I get to be a better friend. I can
Right.
see life through clarity and through truth.
Right, right.
So, and again, I have a daughter and I also have a son.
Mm-hmm.
So being able to understand, to explain to my daughter that as you grow, you have to be whole and you can work on who and what you are.
Yes.
And then you would then attract someone who is also doing the same.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. I was about to say absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So
You're
maybe
so
that's
right
why
about
that kind of comes through in my messaging, because again, it is really working to achieve the highest version of who I can be first.
Absolutely.
And then understanding, well, I know what I can offer when anyone comes to the table as a friend,
Mm-hmm.
as, a lover, as
Mm-hmm.
a wife,
Mm-hmm.
as a business partner.
Yeah,
I'm whole enough that I can bring clarity to the
absolutely.
table, and I'm not bringing a broken piece of me, because I think it all comes out. Which is, again, it goes back to that empty nest.
Mm-hmm.
Really, what it does magnify a lot of times for us is those pieces of us that we probably needed to work on, myself included,
Mm-hmm.
as I navigate my way. Because really, the kids were like, kind of like the filter.
The filter, yes. Oh my gosh, you are so right. You are
They
so
were
right.
the
That's
filter.
a filter or
They were
buffer.
the filter. And I didn't have to address it. I didn't have to deal with that, because, really my focus was really on the kids, and it was fine. And
Mm-hmm.
so once that's removed, again, that's where marriages, I think, fail,
Mm-hmm.
when the children are gone, because the kids were the filter,
Mm-hmm.
but they didn't have really a whole relationship individually and
Right.
then collectively as a couple. And they only identify themselves as a married couple through the kids.
That
And
is
then when they're gone, you're like,
like,
which is why you see a high divorce rate
mm-hmm.
at that point in time, especially for, when you see people that have been married, 20, 25 years, and
Yeah.
you always wonder, well, why did they get a divorce?
Yeah.
Well, it kind of makes a little more sense as I've begun to walk through it and understand, oh, well, there were probably some, cracks somewhere along the way that probably went, unattended for a really, really long
Unattended.
time. So
Right.
I'm really big. I will always advocate for the woman,
Mm-hmm.
because that is who I am. I say that to my son all the time. I said, listen, if you're coming to talk to me about relationships, understand I'm a woman first. I said,
Right.
you're my baby, I love you.
Right.
But understand I'm coming from the truth of a woman, because that is who I am.
That's who you are.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely. So let's dive into
Yes.
surviving the empty nest. What are some tips? What are some things that we can do to survive this it's a transition. It's
Yeah.
a transition.
Yeah. And we have multiple transitions within our life.
Mm-hmm.
And this is just one of those big ones I think most of us are just not prepared for,
Right.
because we're so focused, again, in getting our child to launch, that once they've launched, we have this gap and this empty space that we just didn't take the time to plan and to focus. But all is not lost, especially when you have a child that is away, that
Mm-hmm.
is doing well. It doesn't mean that they have to be in college. They're out of the house and they
That's
are
right.
doing well. And as long as you know that they're doing well, you can then focus on, well, what are some steps that I can take to, again, figure out what I need to do in this next phase of my life. So I came up with 5 tips for
Perfect.
surviving the empty nest. This is really for the mothers that are fresh, like, their first baby, and they just are not. They're just really struggling, and they're looking for some sort of guidance. So the
Yeah.
first step that I say is take it all in. Um, Give yourself time to absorb
Mm-hmm.
what has happened. That senior year is a doozy. And it's a flurry of activities and actions that are happening. And then when it's all over, you have to take it all in, and absorb the moment and the emotions. And it's a lot. You're happy, you're sad, you're crying. You're like, they're doing so well. They did well. And take it all in and give yourself that moment. You have to give yourself and own that, I'm sad, I feel like my heart is broken, that
Mm-hmm.
the kids are gone. And you can say it out loud. You can give yourself that moment to live in that space, but don't say
Right.
it. And then 2, once you realize that you don't need to wallow in the grief, you understand that, who knew that there were 3 stages of the empty nest? 3. I didn't know. I
Right.
didn't know what I was experiencing was grief. And you wouldn't think that grief would take on a form in the stage of your child going away to college. You think
Right.
grief if a loved one passes.
Right.
But grief is the loss of something.
Okay.
That's what grief is. And so we're grieving the loss of what parenting is familiar and looks like for us today.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where you realize that's what the grief is for. Don't wallow in it. And then understand that once you realize that there are the 3 stages, that you have grief, but guess what? You're going to feel some relief. Ultimately, the euphoria of joy that comes in. So understand, if you know that this is just part of my process, I'm going to go through that. And then really start creating a new routine. So this is where I personally...
A new routine?
A new routine.
Okay.
And whatever that may be. So most of us, it's exercise. It is, deciding to start that side business. Whatever it is, now start focusing to create a routine.
A routine.
Because the routine signifies and creates something new for you. And so, so what I wrote down, this is what I said. We've done it for 18 years with kids, and now we get to create one for ourselves. Create a new routine that allows you to find balance of work, home, and new discoveries about yourself, which leads you to what you want to do with your life. What does life look like
what
for
does
me
it look like? Yeah.
today? And what are my possibilities at this stage in life? They weren't the same as they were even 3 years ago. You have like you said, a little more flexibility with a couple of dollars. You have more time. You get to experience doing more. What does that look like for you?
Right.
Maybe that's doing yoga on a Thursday. Maybe that's, maybe that's deciding I'm going to go to a movie on a Monday evening. Something that you haven't really done before because you just didn't have the opportunity nor the time to do it.
Do it, right. And don't be afraid to do it.
Yeah. And that's the mindset piece too, because I realized that, Sunday was always ritualistic for us to prepare for the week. And so Sunday was the day that you didn't go anywhere, you didn't make any plans because you had to get ready for it.
Yeah.
And so I find myself still saying, oh, I have to get ready for the week. Yeah. Well, getting ready for the week doesn't require the work that it once did. So, and I'm only getting ready for the week for one person.
Right.
So I do have the flexibility that if I want to go out on a Sunday, I don't have to spend my entire time getting ready for the week because that's no longer my reality today.
Right. Right.
So, and then this is where the whole, what do I want to do? And just as the kids are excited about figuring out what they want to do, it really is the same for us of, do I want to go back to school? Do I want to start a business? Do I want to focus more on my mental health? Do I want to start mending relationships that probably I just didn't get a chance to really give 100% because I was parenting, quite honestly.
Yeah.
And then for my last step, which is which kind of leads me into, again, reconnecting with girlfriends. So as an African-American woman who has phenomenal friends, I just didn't have the time before because I was a full-on 100% parent. And they love me enough to understand and say, well, we're not going to ask LaChelle because we know she's not going to go because she's parenting. And so now I get the opportunity to reconnect and really redefine my friendships because
I want to ask about that because what happens when and if, I think people experience this, they lose friendships.
Yeah.
Now you're ready to come back and they're like,
hey, I'm back, guys. I'm back on the scene. They're like, we took you off our group chat years ago. So
Right.
They
So
no
it's
longer,
like, do you
they no
have
longer
or do
call
you
you. Right. They
find?
no longer call you to ask you to go out because for years you said no. And so now you're like, hey guys, I'm back. And they're like, you
That's
have
a reality for some people. Seriously. So like, what do you do? Are
yes,
you now in a position where now you have to make friends as adults,
yes.
which
So
sometimes is like, ooh.
so so I wrote this amazing piece,
Uh-huh.
um, gosh, maybe about a year ago
Mm-hmm.
about making friends as a 40 plus year old woman.
Mm,
And really being in a space in my life where really stepping outside of my comfort zone
mm-hmm.
and really embracing people,
Mm.
which was really difficult for me. I was I didn't know how to be a friend, quite honestly. And so most of us keep our little circles pretty small, one or two,
Yeah.
one bestie, maybe two for
Right.
the most
Right.
part
Right.
that's been through you throughout your journey of life. And then you have friends that come and go.
Right. Right.
Um, and so here you are, you're like, hi, how you doing? I'm a friend. You want a friend? I'm a friend. I got time. And so, yeah, I have made an intentional decision to be the person in the room that attracts people to talk to them. And
Hmm.
yeah, because what I realized, part of the reason why um, being friends was hard for me was
Mm-hmm.
because I wasn't open. I
Got it.
wasn't open. And so I wasn't attracting, if you're in a room with a group of strangers, everyone is looking for a kind face.
Yes.
Everyone is looking for a commonality that they can find to create a conversation. And so
Yeah.
what I realized is that I would be in the room closed off. And so what would end up happening
Yeah.
is,
Yeah.
people would pass me by and I always wanted to say, I'm a good friend. I'm funny. I'm nice. I'm
I'm
giving.
nice.
Me. I'm
Once
really
you start
nice.
talking to me, I'm nice, right? And it's like nobody's gonna approach you with the resting bitch face.
Which I was a queen of back in the day.
That was
So,
me. That
yeah.
was me.
So what I realized is, just as I am in the room looking to make a connection,
Mm-hmm.
I realized that I had to be the one in the room to be open.
Open.
Because we're all looking for the same thing. We're all searching and scanning the room, looking
Yeah.
for something that's familiar
Yeah.
that we can make a connection with. And then from there make an authentic connection. And from there maybe a friendship.
Yeah.
But you have to be open and you have to understand that you know, putting yourself in a position, as my daughter says, Mom, I'm put myself out there. I'm making friends. And just as we told our children to do it, for some reason, as adults,
We don't.
we don't. And so I have worked to be intentional in being that kind person in a
Yeah.
room of strangers that people want to come up and
Right.
say, hi, how are you? What's your name? My name is, but I had to learn how to be that person, to be the kindness in the room that people are searching for. And that was hard. So yes, finding friends, hard to do, but not impossible, because I think we're all looking for the same thing. We're all
Absolutely.
just looking to make an authentic connection, and understanding that we you can have friends for all types of reasons. I have a friend who loves art.
Mm-hmm.
We just go look at art.
Right.
I have a friend that we can talk about philosophy all day,
Mm-hmm.
and the culture.
Right.
We can just do that all day. And then I have my girl who, again, just my ride or die,
Right. Right.
who I don't have to talk to for 5 years. But if I called her and said, I'm gonna need about $500.
Right.
Gotta have one of those friends when you say, girl, I need $500. And
Right. Right.
all right, no questions asked.
Right. Absolutely.
So I do think it forces you to kind of step out of your comfort zone. But that's a good thing because you're learning more about who you are today, and that false thinking and the myths and the again, it doesn't serve you of what worked for you before to today. And
Right.
sometimes we still kind of get that a little mixed up. What worked for us in terms of our thinking, in terms of our strategy and our approach, that was great. That's what you needed then.
Right.
No longer serves you at this stage in life. And so that's why I say, back to surviving, the last step is reconnecting with old friends and, really creating a space to create new ones. Because, sometimes, people come into your life for all types of reasons. And sometimes it may not be just because you know someone for 45 years or 30 years doesn't mean that the connection is still there.
Right.
But you should be open and try your best to find connections that work for you today.
Absolutely.
And it's, again, making friends over the age of 40, it's a thing. That's what
it is a thing. I think it's an art.
Yeah, it's practice.
There's an art to it. And it's practice. It's practice. And that may be another topic to talk about.
So again, the secret, honestly, the secret is knowing this. Everyone that comes into a room is looking for the same exact thing. I'm just looking for a kind face. That's all I'm doing. I'm scanning and I'm just looking for a kind face.
Yeah. You're so right. You're so right about that. You were so right about that.
And I think I had it wrong for so many years that, I was standoffish. And that was just really protecting myself, trust, insecurity.
Yeah.
And I wanted to observe, but, I want to be in the room, but I don't want you to look at me.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I totally
exactly. So again, that's something else that I am really diving into, because again, these same scenarios that happened before you had the kids come right back.
Come right back.
And you're like,
right back.
I like this.
I was like, no, you didn't, because you never addressed it.
Never addressed it.
Never addressed
it. Kids then took the primary focus. And so you didn't have to worry about that. You didn't have to worry about making friends because you didn't have time.
And so now here we are.
Yeah. And really giving women the tools on how you can do that and how you can create an entirely new network of friends based on your life today. And it can be just as exciting and as fun. And the definition of friendship, what it means to you today. Because I'm pretty sure it changed when it was in your 20s.
Absolutely.
Versus today. And I think that that's part of the transition as you go from one stage of life to this next chapter of life. And really, again, I cannot stress it enough that this is such a wonderful opportunity and wonderful experience. It's all in what you choose to do.
To do with it. Absolutely. I think the biggest takeaway for me anyway on this is that the excitement that your kids are feeling and what they have, you should really have that for yourself. I never really even thought of it that way. But you're absolutely right. That you can define and create this new life, really. What do you want it to look like, and mold it and go after it. And it doesn't have to be doom and gloom. Oh, life is over. My kids are gone. Life is over. It totally doesn't have to be that way. That's my biggest takeaway.
And it's healthy because I think as the kids are happy and living their life, they're looking back, they're still looking at you.
Absolutely.
Like, oh, I didn't do anything. I just fiddled around the house.
Yeah.
You know, how do you think that makes the kid feel? That's guilt. It really is guilt, because they know you missed them and they know you weren't the same since you left.
Right.
So they're smart enough to do, two and two and realize, oh man, so then they feel guilty that they're excited about life and living life. And so they're always looking back to you. Are you okay?
Are you okay? Yeah. You're right. You're so right.
You're thriving.
Right.
You're launching together.
I don't have to worry. She's doing her thing and she's good.
And she's happy.
Them to be good, and feel good.
Yeah. And still live this example of what adulting at this stage in life looks like, because again, they will be at this stage in life.
Absolutely.
And so they'll have that to kind of reflect back on and say, man, mom was living her best life when she turned 50. She was never home.
Right.
She was happy. Gosh, I can remember mom, we had to ask her if she could babysit the kids, because she was never home. I can remember her saying, hey, we're going to go on a vacation together and we're going to wherever. I can remember mom, being happy. Right. And it really was the shift of they're loving their life.
Right.
Why aren't I doing the same?
Right.
And not making them feel guilty because they're enjoying their life.
Yeah.
And thinking that, dang, their mom's not happy. Dad's not happy.
And it's unfair. It's totally unfair to them. Yeah. Totally unfair to them.
Yeah. So once I started, that's again another huge piece of motivating you right, to kind of get out of that stage that you're in. Because again, the last thing that we ever want for our kids is for them to make them feel guilty about our happiness. Yeah. And we're putting that on them. Right. And they're looking back and thinking, gosh, mom, what she been saying all the time? Right. She has low energy.
Right.
Depressed. You talk to mom?
And I don't want that I don't want that. I don't want them to think that. I don't want them to feel that. So I think for me, I'm going to be a little bit more aware and mindful of how I move, what I'm doing. I know for me lately, I've been saying yes to more things. That is my transition out of the, oh, woe is me. Yes to more things. I went to a TEDx Boca Raton last Saturday. Right. Saturday just
that is fire. Yes.
It's so fun. I have a seminar someone invited me to in Tampa, which I typically would have said no. I said yes. Right. Ta-Nehisi Coates is coming down here in Miami. And I said yes. I'm going, so I'm like, okay, I'm starting to get out there, do my things, and live.
That's it. That's it. That's it. That's
absolutely
such a beautiful thing. And then you start realizing your weekends are filled up and you're like,
and not with their stuff, with my stuff, like with the things I want to do, with what I feel fulfilled in. And if I want to go, I have a girlfriend in Houston, right outside of Houston. She's like, you need to come. And I'm like, my first thought was thinking of why I can't, right? And I'm like, there's no reason why I can't. I could do a weekend. We can have our weekends like we used to have our weekends, and it's not a big deal. So it's, starting to say yes to things, saying yes to myself.
Yeah.
That's what it really is for me.
One of the great decisions that I made after my daughter left was I went on a girls' trip. I went on a girls' trip. And it was the beginning for me to really, really get in the mindset of it was fun.
Yeah.
Because, again, they have been asking me for years. This is something that they've always done. And I highly recommend if any woman has the capacity, the ability, invited to do it, it
Mhm.
really, really can set the tone for what your next is going to be. And why not
Yeah.
do it? And I did it because it was almost for me to celebrate what I just did. I just did something amazing. I have been able to put my last baby in college.
Yeah.
That's a win,
That is a win. And we
right?
celebrate
That's a
those things.
win.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let me celebrate that as opposed to, feeling missing them so much, which I did.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I worked so hard to get both of them in this place and they're doing well. I deserve the win.
Right.
So I was like, well, I'm coming. I'm going with you all on the trip. And, first, again, the first thing you say is, I can't. I can't. I can't. But then you start saying, well, I really can't.
Yeah.
And, I played around with it and I did it the first month that she left.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I was still feeling angst.
Mm-hmm.
I shouldn't go. I shouldn't go.
Right. Right.
What if she needs me, if she calls me?
Exactly. What if she wants to come home this weekend? I'm not here. Right?
That exact thought. And so I kind of pushed through and said, well, Shell, you've done well.
Mm-hmm.
You should be proud and you should celebrate this. And
Right.
even though you're feeling, kind of on the fence, you should go. And I'm so glad I went because it then set me up for what fun can look like,
Right.
because I hadn't had it without the kids for a very long time. My happiness came from the joy of my children.
Wow.
So
Wow.
when they're happy, I'm happy.
Mm-hmm.
And so for the very first time, that wasn't the connection. It was
Right.
all me. And so
Right.
it was weird, but it set me up to then start working on, well, that was fun.
That's really something, that's a good takeaway as well. Find something to celebrate that chapter so that it can launch you to your next chapter.
Yes. Yes.
Right?
Because that was
That's
a huge
awesome.
win.
And I think that for me is probably what was missing. Even though I would go on trips, like last year me and my girlfriend went to Puerto Rico.
Mm-hmm.
Year before that, I forgot where we went. I would go on little trips because I needed to kind of reconnect with me at certain points.
Yeah.
But it wasn't anything for this, like for celebrating this. I think being intentional to say, I need to celebrate what I have just accomplished. We celebrate their high school graduation. We celebrate their college graduation or acceptance to college or moving into their new place or their engagements, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
We don't celebrate the parts that we had in their achievements.
Yeah.
Which is our own achievement as a person.
Absolutely. I put on my daughter's cap when she graduated. I put that cap on and I was looking in the mirror. I was like,
look what I did. Look what I helped do, right?
Yeah, good job.
Good job.
That was a win. And I'll do the same when my son graduates. Let me get that cap. Let me put that on. Give me a diploma. Give me a diploma. Let me get that.
Right. Oh my goodness. Amazing.
We all have a piece in that. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of times we don't celebrate our wins or because we thought it was for them, but we did the sacrificing. We did the sacrificing.
Yeah.
And so you're worthy. And no one is saying, good job, Mom. You did that thing. Look at your baby.
Right.
You had the pride of
the pride. Yeah.
But no one is really saying to you, good job.
Right.
You did it.
Right.
You did what you set out to do, and God blessed you. So great job. why we're not celebrating it, I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
I'm here to change the narrative on that and to kind of show that how you can do that and why it's important to do that. Why
Right.
it's important to understand, yeah, you're going to go through all of these emotions. But if you keep in mind that
Mm-hmm.
this was what we prayed for, this is what we asked God for,
Right.
how can we not be happy and how can we not celebrate that? And then be, again, the example, because again, everyone has a circle of life. And our children will be at the age that we are right now. And
Mm-hmm.
they're going to have to reference something. And more than likely, it will be us. And
So
so,
what are we giving them? Right.
yeah. So when my kids think back, when, Dad, how old was Mom and Dad when I
Right.
was, man, they seem to, I remember they were doing XYZ.
Right.
I don't want them to remember that I was sad. I tell them I miss them all the time.
Right.
But you can also navigate life with, I'm still going to live my life and
Absolutely.
know that you're doing well and be an example for that, for this stage in life, because they're going to reference this at some point, which then forces us to kind of jolt
Yes.
out of that stage of grief.
Of grief. At least get out of it a little bit faster.
Yeah.
No one is saying to skip that. I mean, if that is your natural process, you're just going to have to go through it, but don't stay there. The message is try not to stay there. And if you need to seek professional help to help move you through it, it is totally okay to do it. And do not feel guilt, shame, embarrassment, none of that. Don't even label it.
Yeah.
Do what you need to do to get to where you need to get to.
My goal is to just shed light on this space.
Right.
Because when I was looking for any type of anything to help connect the dots of my emotions, I couldn't really find much.
Right.
I couldn't find anything that really spoke to the depth of what I was feeling in the words that we're speaking it, that really could change my mindset. And so I was like, well, there's nothing out there. Well, then so be it. Then I would be the one, I will lead the charge.
Right.
That means that somebody else can take our conversation and our truths, and they're sitting there listening, and like,
right.
And it can help them.
Right.
Because there just wasn't a space where this conversation could be had, especially in our community, in our culture.
Right.
I just couldn't find anything, but that's okay, because we are now getting ready to take away the miscommunication or the lack of communication that is just lacking, and it's not there for us. Because now we get to say, guess what? It's the thing, and you will be just fine. You go right on ahead and you go through those emotions as you're trying to navigate your way. So,
absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you for allowing us to have a space, and you seeing, that there was a need for this.
Absolutely.
Because I was thinking, man, there's nothing. There's nothing out there. Yeah. And as I was sharing my truth and really coming up with tips and really information to help someone else, that you saw that. And so thank you for creating a platform to have this conversation, because I don't think if you did, it would have still been, a piece here or a piece
there. Right. And that's the purpose for BenchTalk, which is an extension of JMCC, what I do, the Jackie Mitchell Career Consulting, because like I say all the time, I tell my clients, it's not just about your career. If you look at that wheel of life, right? If one area isn't good, 9 times out of 10, it's going to affect everything else, right?
Yes.
And a lot of times my coaching and my, what we're talking about, we don't talk about resumes. We don't talk about, your promotion. We talk about everything else because it's impacting what you're not doing or where you're feeling stuck. We go through and set goals to get through that, to get you to where you need to be, and your confidence and your assertiveness and all of that. But this whole platform for BenchTalk came from me being a contractor, a consultant. In between contracts, they say you're on the bench, right? And so when I started this was initially a project management type thing, and it just morphed and I moved with it because my spirit was like, it's bigger than project management. This is not just that, because people were coming to me for other things. And I said, you know what? BenchTalk is the place to have those conversations, at least start those conversations that people don't want to have. And a lot of times I say what people are thinking, but they don't want to say it. I was going crazy with the whole leaving, the kids leaving the house. I was balled up crying. I'm okay with saying that. Like, I cried tears. Like, this isn't happening. Oh my God, what is this? So I really wanted to create a space and a platform where we can have many different conversations, because we're not talking about it, and we're not talking about it truthfully.
Yeah.
Right. We live in this Instagram age where you just see the highlight reel of everybody's thing.
I only show you when I'm winning.
And that's it, and I'm good 100%. I was not feeling like I was winning in this area. Yeah. And there are other areas where I wasn't feeling like I was winning. And you typically know what those are, because those are the conversations that we've had within BenchTalk. A lot of these topics come from
I call it the uncomfortable truth.
The uncomfortable truth, right? So creating that space, creating that platform, getting that out there, and not feeling intimidated by it, embarrassed by it. What are people going to say? This is my professional life and people are going to see it.
Yeah.
I am a whole person.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was so funny. I was just watching, I binged watched A Different World this past weekend on Hulu or something.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, there was an episode with Diane Carroll, rest her soul. I think it was the last episode where Whitley, the character, was pregnant, and her and Diane Carroll and Patti LaBelle's characters were going.
Oh, yeah, because they were the parents.
The parents who was gonna, they didn't want the kids to move to Japan or whatever. And Diane Carroll kept saying, "I'm every mother. I'm every woman," and that kind of stuck with me, because I'm like, we are, because we have all these things within us, and we're not expressing them. We're not talking about it. We hold it in, but I am every woman. Yeah. I deal with so many different issues and come out on the other side of them. I'm very self-aware, and, I always say I give myself 3 days. If it goes past 3 days, then it's a problem for me, right?
Well,
I will give myself 3 days to mourn. And it kind of depends on the situation, but typically it's a 3-day situation for me. And then I have to get up, because if not, I'm going to go into a depression, and I don't want to be in that space. So I give myself the 3 days and go through it and get through it and come up, right? We're not talking about
those. It's great, and it's really needed, because I think that's where you have those of us that lead the charge. And I think part of my gift is being able to share my truth and talking about the raw unfiltered
Right.
truths of everyday life. And I,
Right.
as I said in the beginning, listen, I am the everyday woman. I'm just working hard to achieve the highest version of myself. And
Absolutely.
that's, that's really all that I'm trying to do. And we get to have the opportunity to be able to articulate it, to be able to create a space where people can relate.
Mm-hmm.
And I always say, it's the conversations that you want to be in the room, but you wish you were a fly on the wall.
Yeah.
Because you just like,
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Because they're, not everyone wants to come open and share that's me, that's me, that's me.
Right. Right.
And so that's okay.
It's okay.
You have created a platform where someone in the privacy of their own home, in their own space, secure, still striving to work on bettering who they are, can tap in and listen and be like this.
Yeah. I'm not alone.
That was me. That was me.
Yeah.
And it gives them what they need, where they don't feel like they're isolated, they're alone. It's all, am I crazy? Am I the only one feeling this? That you have created a space that someone can be like, I was too embarrassed to say that, but that was me.
And that was my goal with this, and especially with this topic, with all the topics that we talk about. They're very near and dear to me in some way.
Aren't they like I can do this all day. It's like I love this.
Yeah,
I love it. I
really want to. It's just really about empowering women.
Yeah.
Just empowering us, because for so long we take advantage of ourselves.
Yeah.
We don't give ourselves enough credit. We don't ask for help. Yes, you can be every woman, but you're not Superwoman.
Yeah.
I think the strongest person is the one who's asking for help. The strongest person is the one putting their truth out there and being authentic about it and saying, look, this is me, raw and uncut. This is me.
Yeah.
So we can talk all night. This may be a 2-part series. Oh my God.
I love this. This is how you can tell you're passionate, because again, I will do this for free.
Yeah. Right.
Because again, I've been that woman.
Yeah.
Struggling. I've been that woman searching for me. And searching for me in all these other people, other spaces, in books, on TV. And so when I finally realized that it starts with me, do the work.
Right.
And then create the space and the conversations. Right. So I decided to be who I am because I wanted to answer the questions that no one gave me.
Yeah.
That is why I do what I do. Because no one gave me the answers. And I struggled. And I don't ever want that for my daughter or any woman that I'm walking and I see that she's just having a hard time.
Yeah.
When we have truth and we have the tools. You don't have to live like this.
Right.
So I just wanted to be the answers that nobody gave me.
You are awesome, LaChelle.
That would be you. Thank you, though. I appreciate it.
You are awesome. No, I really appreciate this conversation. I know that this will resonate with a lot of people. Yeah. A lot of women out there are going to listen to this and say, you know what? I'm going through that, or I'm about to.
Yeah.
I'm approaching that stage. Yeah. What did it look like for you? It may not look like that for me, but what did it look like for you? but definitely with you giving the 5 tips, very much appreciated. So, Miss Lifestyle Strategist, how can people, before I even say that, this is one thing that I have to say. I have had other coaches and strategists on. I do not see you all as my competition at all. We partner. And I didn't mean that in a bad way. I don't see you as my competition. I mean that as
collaboration.
It's a collaboration. There is room for all of us. And when we all come together and work together, it's bigger, it's better, it's stronger. The message, it gets to where it needs to be.
Isn't it good and yummy though when you're like, girl, me too. We need to talk about this.
We need to talk because you got something that my listeners would would need, and I have something that you're listening. So partnering with people, regardless of what your career, your industry, or what have you, women partnering with women and collaborating with women, we are so much better together.
I don't know, how did that happen in the first place? I'm still trying to figure out who broke up the band. Like, whoever said that worked.
I don't know.
So, but we're changing, but nevertheless, we're changing the narrative on that.
Right.
And understanding that, what the work that we're doing is giving value to the world that's beyond us.
Absolutely.
It's beyond us.
Absolutely.
I think that's how you can tell those who are authentic, those who are passionate, and those who are true to the call and their life's work.
Yeah.
That's Absolutely. How you can tell the difference.
Absolutely. Because I know for me, there are days where I'm like, oh, I can't do this.
Yeah.
I can't. But then I say, you know what? It's not about me.
Yeah.
It's not about me because there's somebody that I can help.
Yeah.
Whether I get the immediate response, there's somebody somewhere at some point in time. Just like I stumbled across that post that you made, and I was like, oh.
And that means so much because sometimes you, again, as I say, sometimes you, for me, I share my truth. Mm-hmm. And as someone who's a creator, you always wonder,
is it getting?
Yeah, did anyone hear that?
Am I talking to an empty room? Like, is anyone hearing it?
Because I don't play, social media is not a plaything for me. When I'm posting, it's not a bot. It is me.
It's you, right? Me just
having an authentic moment with myself, transparently in my truth.
Right.
So when I do a post, that's a moment.
Right.
The vulnerability.
Right.
My life and my experience. So it always means so much to me that anyone that could read it and it hits them in a way that it hit me as I was going through the moment, as I was writing it, and the words came to me to really be able to, hopefully, it pierced someone else's heart the way that it pierced mine, in a truth, in a solution, in a just a moment of vulnerability.
Yeah,
quite honestly. So hopefully, someone else can take what we're doing and see the vulnerability that we're showing, and saying that, you know what, I feel the same way, but I can overcome this. And we've given them the tools to do it. So listen, I am forever honored that you would have me as a guest to share my experience and my truth. Again, I'm just a regular girl. Regular girl from around the way.
No, but I thank you for coming on, LaChelle. I really thank you. So, like I started saying, lifestyle strategist. How can people get in touch with you?
So I am on all social media. at LaChelle T Parker, LaChelle Parker. And my website is LaChelle T Parker. I am working on creating a online program for empty nesters, and I'm also starting to do work for those of us that are in midlife transition, because I think that there's a second piece to that we're not talking about that has an impact in between there. And again, really allowing me to show greatness in other people. That, I believe we all have three things: forgiveness, redemption, and greatness.
Absolutely.
And it's making a decision on what we choose, regardless of just the decisions that we've made in our past. Where we are today, those are free. They don't cost a dime. You can start today. You can make the decision today.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, LaChelle, this was amazing. Thank you. We made it through, and I know you guys heard my dog barking.
Did you hear mine too?
Huh?
Did you hear mine too?
I didn't hear it. Mine is really upset with me. She's not happy. Maybe one day I'll show her. But yeah, she was out there barking.
I didn't hear it.
I don't know if the mic picked it up, but we'll during the edits we'll see. But this is gonna be raw, uncut video.
Keep it in there. Keep it in there.
I mean, it's real life. Come on. I mean, my house is not totally empty. The two oldest ones are gone. Right?
Yeah.
So, we still have the dog. And she likes to make her.
Me too. I call it my oldest last baby.
I know. But thank you, LaChelle. I don't know why.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, LaChelle. I will post your information in the notes for the in the description. Podcast on BenchTalk. So for those listening to the traditional podcast, thank you guys for listening. For those watching, thank you for watching us. More than likely, you will get more from watching than listening, because the listening version may be cut a little bit shorter than the raw, uncut.
You got to experience us.
You got to.
You're not going to get the full effect if you're just listening.
So we will be posting the link to watch, and of course on BenchTalk.net, you can hear this episode. So thank you guys so much for listening and watching. Thank you for being a part of this, LaChelle.
Yay!
Yes, you see my little sign back here? That's my little motivation. You got this.
You can do this.
Absolutely. Thank you guys. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
Good one. Yay!
Thank you for listening to another episode of Bench Talk. Be sure to catch up on previous episodes at benchtalk.net. This is Jackie Mitchell, your career consultant. Be sure to follow me on Facebook and Instagram at Jackie Mitchell CC, and on Twitter, Jackie Mitch, that's Jackie MITCH CC. Thank you guys.